listening to The Review on the OSG Sports Podcasting Network.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Review. It's the Online Sports Guys College Football Podcast, where we talk about, you guessed it, college football.
I thought you were going to say online sports. Okay.
No.
But we are talking online one way or another.
Excellent. Yes.
Yes. And we are your hosts, the Online Sports Guys. I'm OSG Phil. He is OSG Nelson, and that is Brother Marty. We are talking college football on a week where we didn't really have high expectations for this week going in because most of the teams,
there weren't going to be any good games from what we said last week.
Yeah.
no.
They're all going to suck.
We don't know what we're talking about.
Well, mine suck.
Feature ranked teams playing unranked teams and lots of unranked teams playing other unranked teams. And yet, this might be the week that we're talking about the rest of the season because there were a lot of upsets.
Why, yes.
Yes, there were.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll start with probably the biggest one of them all because it's a game that arguably nobody saw, including the people in Nashville who go to Vanderbilt. The Vanderbilt Commodores moved to 3-2 on the season after they defeat the Alabama Crimson Tide 40-35.
Don't mess with
the under construction Vanderbilt Memorial Stadium that featured mostly Alabama fans.
You know, I think Brother J-Dub might have wished this game into fruition.
Well, the Vanderbilt people are all taking blame, or everybody's blaming this one.
Taking blame. You've screwed it up for the rest of us by winning. It's our fault.
It just means more.
Yes.
They're all blaming Nick Saban, who went on record on ESPN's Game Day show and said Vanderbilt's always the easiest place to play. And yeah, if you've ever been to a game there, you would know that that actually is true.
Short of an action location, that might be right.
Yes, and they do make the occasional appearance on our favorite segment.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Because if you go to an SEC game at Vanderbilt's Memorial Stadium, chances are the visiting fans are going to outnumber the home fans.
Mm-hmm.
But they still managed to cobble together enough people to storm the field, take down the goalposts, and carry those goalposts 3 miles down West End Boulevard into Broadway and into the into the river.
3-mile hike, man.
That's awesome.
That a 3-mile hike. That's not messing around.
That's a long trip just to pollute.
This is what I'm saying. I mean, but
work.
It is. Hey, but I don't think for a second any of those students thought of it as work. I thought that they're like, yeah, man, this is a field trip. We're going to Broadway. We're going to try and find as many women of the female persuasion that are wearing short dresses and cowboy boots, and we'll see if they can come along for the ride and help dump an upright into the river. Because when are you going to have, if you are Vanderbilt, and I know that Clark Lee and Barton Simmons and everybody, they'll sit there and go, well, yeah, next time out. But realistically, when's the next time that Vanderbilt is going to have as seismic a moment as this in college football, where they have basically drawn everyone else back into the pack for the 12-pack tournament? I mean, seriously, when are they going to have as seismic a moment as this? I don't think they ever will.
When Diego wins the Heisman.
That.
Yes. And the Diego we're talking about is Vanderbilt quarterback Diego Pavia, who played last year at New Mexico State and made a name for himself in a thrashing of the Auburn Tigers.
Was there, saw it, and warned everybody about it going in the door, and everybody looked at me like I didn't know what I was talking about, had 3 heads, and couldn't spell the word Tuesday. And then I was like, no, you don't understand. And then it happened, and now everyone at Auburn and the boss led me into this thought pattern. She's like, look, we might be the only SEC team to lose to Diego Pavia 2 years in a row with 2 separate campuses. And I wouldn't put it past them.
I didn't play him when he was in JUCO.
Oh, well, I mean, get this. He was a high school wrestler. He had to walk on at New Mexico Military, walk on at a JUCO, gets them to a national title, then goes to New Mexico State, does what he does there, then he goes to Vanderbilt, doing what he's doing there. Is anybody, and no one, I don't think anybody in recent memory has really bet on themselves as much as Diego Pavia has, and has succeeded each and every time out. So are you going to stare at Diego Pavia and tell him no, and then be surprised when he turns around and basically flips you off after he does what he does? No. I have zero doubt in him.
Look at his stat line from this game. Passing 16 for 20, 252 and 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
He also ran the ball 20 times for 56 yards.
There was one play, I want to say it was in the fourth quarter. I know, I remember.
That's actually better yardage than one of the guys on the NCAA cover.
There was one play when I think they were trying to piece together a drive to run out clock in the fourth quarter where they pull this fake dive toss pitch that was, look, there were people from Brentwood to Jackson, Tennessee that probably, you had spontaneous combustion all up and down the freeway after that movement happened because the fake was so brilliant on the fake dive. And then all of a sudden you see him pull this option pitch out that was it wasn't just like this little dink pitch either. It was like a 5-yard pitch to his right blind on a 180-degree angle, and it was perfect, and it went for a first down, and I was just like, yeah, man, I've seen that before, and now Alabama has seen it, and bang.
Whoa. That's an impact to knock off the headset.
It was.
Yeah, did the Tide suffer a little bit of a hangover after the Georgia game here? Or
absolutely. Absolutely they did. Absolutely they did. And but I think what we found out is how to beat Alabama in this current iteration. Keep the ball away from them. Keep Jalen Milroe pinned in, and make sure that you convert third downs. And they converted 75% of their third downs, meaning Vanderbilt. And so, it sounds too commonsensical to have all of those three things going on, but not all of them can happen in a game state. But yeah, it's like 18 to 24, I think, on third down for Vandy on the day. And you pin some
like that.
Silly statistic like that. Yeah. And so I think they had over 45 minutes of possession. And you kept the ball away from Alabama.
That's 3-2, Vandy, by the way.
Yeah. So all these things happen. You have a harmonic convergence, and you end up with a 3-mile hike.
And then Diego Pavia makes goalposts sleep with the fishes.
Yes.
Yeah, to be more specific, Vanderbilt was 12 for 18 on third downs, and they had the ball for 42 minutes to Alabama's 17 minutes and 52 seconds.
Thank you. That was the number I was saying.
Yeah, and this despite Ryan Williams making one of probably the 5 best catches you might ever see.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Where he just leaped up and in one motion grabs the ball, lands, does a tiptoe down the sidelines, and stays in bounds and scores. But it still wasn't enough.
Filthy. Absolutely.
So does this still count as a quality SEC loss? And then how does this affect Georgia's loss to Bama?
Oh, like I said, everybody's back in the pile. Seriously, everybody's back in the pile for the 12-pack.
And will Vandy get ranked?
Well, I will give you a theory that's going around the message board from my alma mater, Georgia Southern.
Yeah.
That theory is that since we beat Georgia State, and Georgia State beat Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt beat Alabama, and Alabama beat Georgia.
Yeah.
How many degrees
that means we're better than Georgia.
But yeah, the transitive property.
So it's 6 degrees of San Diego.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But alas, gentlemen, that was not the only upset of the day.
Pray tell, Phil, what else happened?
We had another field being stormed in beautiful Fayetteville, Arkansas, after the Razorbacks moved their record to 4-2 on the season and defeat the previously now fourth-ranked Tennessee Volunteers 19-14.
Oh, there was plenty of cold beer had in Arkansas on the weekend.
And somewhere Wilkie is smiling.
Oh, I think it's a little more smiling, Marty. Come on now.
He's snoring, but he's still got a big smile on his face.
Mm-hmm.
It was not the prettiest game you'll ever see. I did watch most
you-
of the first half of it.
That goes
Irrelevant.
without saying when you said Arkansas.
I was going to say irrelevant and immaterial to the argument, counselor. That does not matter. What happened at the end of the day? What happened at the end of the day was an upset, and folks in Fayetteville and Arkansas had them some cold beers. That's all that matters.
It's almost like Tennessee was overranked.
No.
Yeah.
No,
No,
oof. Somebody else got overranked too.
yeah, their first three wins for the Tennessee Volunteers were 69-3, 51-10, 71-0 over teams all with losing records.
Karma.
Yeah.
Karma.
I'm thinking they might have been just a smidge overrated.
Kind of like the team that went and played ATM.
Phil, there's no such thing as SEC bias. I mean, it's just kind of weird that all these upsets happen in the same conference.
It's all front loaded. Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
Yes. Going down the list of upsets here before we get into other games. Didn't have this one on the bingo card either. Texas A&M hosted Missouri, who came into the game undefeated.
Number 8.
Missouri ranked number 9 at the start of the day. They walk into College Station and ran into a freaking buzzsaw. Texas A&M 41, Mizzou 10.
Did
Hey,
not.
what conference is that?
I believe that would be where it just means more, sir.
So that's our third one so far
Except for when it doesn't.
of the fourth game that we mentioned.
Yes, correct. Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Continue. I'm loving this.
Oh man, I mean, Connor. I don't know what happened to Connor Wegman, but somebody hid Connor Wegman and came out with a different Connor Wegman, 18-22 and 276 for ATM in the win. I don't know where this Connor Wegman came from. I really don't. But
It wasn't the guy who played the first week of the season for A&M.
correct. And now ATM is 5-1.
The check must have cleared.
That could very well. Yeah, that could very well.
As a Big Ten fan, we always, whenever they said it means more, we always just said it pays more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Speaking of the Big Ten, they
Uh-oh.
were not immune from the upset bug. Marty's favorite team, the Michigan Wolverines, go down in defeat to the Washington Huskies, 27-17. Washington with a resounding win.
So, Connor Stalions not on staff.
No.
Michigan loses to a team they previously beat.
Mm-hmm.
And then, just to foreshadow our Ohio State game, they had a Michigan quarterback that beat Ohio State before, but he had a much different result. Also without Connor Stalions.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There might have been a little bit more change in
know.
Michigan than just Connor Stalions not being there.
Well,
the head coach no longer there. The star quarterback no longer there. And you can go
people
down
with
the list.
eligibility and criminality all leaving at the same time.
Hey, why is Phil
Would
bringing
that happen?
why is Phil bringing all this
Dude.
logic to the conversation?
Yeah. Well, one more loss like this, and they're going to be self-imposing their bowl ban to try to give a more lenient sentence.
Well, okay. So here's how many more upsets do you have to talk about before I have a theory?
I've got one or two more.
Okay, so I will hold my theory. Continue discussing.
Because we have another Big Ten upset.
Uh-oh.
USC Trojans make the trip up to the land of 1,000 lakes, up to Minnesota, and they are beaten by the Minnesota Golden Gophers 24-17.
Well, but that's what happens when you end up having to relitigate a tush push that went wrong but didn't go wrong. So, yeah,
This is my shock face for shitty Big Ten officiating.
Oh, well, I think that it should be just a shock.
It's not a complete screw up until they throw somebody out for targeting them.
Well, but at the same time, I think that your shocked face should be across the board because there's a game that we haven't talked about yet that will have your shock face once again reemployed. But I think it's just, and even when you include video review in these kinds of situations where you've got to relitigate something and it ended up working. And I mean, this was the angriest I've ever seen PJ Fleck on the sideline this week.
It is fun to watch him get upset.
But where literally his head matches the color of his outfit because he was that mad over the tush push and then the relitigation finally worked for him. But no, it's
the Big Ten officiating though, like the the guys on the field make a bad call. They go to video review and they're like, hold my beer.
Yeah, exactly. Give
We're
it
gonna add an additional 10 yards to this BS.
give it a minute. We'll come back.
I'm waiting within the next 2 weeks. They're going to call somebody for targeting that sneezed on the sideline and wasn't actually in the game.
No, that's the ACC game that we got coming up.
Yeah, which ACC game coming up? Yeah, I guess we need to go down that list. SMU Louisville would be the game that we were referring to. SMU
Well, I'm talking about ACC after dark, but keep going.
yeah, not there yet.
Nope.
SMU and Louisville. SMU goes into the game 4-1. Louisville was 3-1 entering the game and ranked number 22nd. SMU exits the game with a win. Louisville goes down at home 34-27.
Let's go down.
They spoil breaking out special uniforms. And
That
I watched a bit of that game. That was, man, Smooth's looking good. I mean, I expected him to beat Florida State, but not to do this 2 weeks in a row.
go figure.
They're going to mess around and get ranked.
Yeah, I know. Don't get ranked. You see what happens.
Yeah, no kidding. We'll go down the list of teams that held serve. Georgia with a 31-13 win over Auburn in a game that probably put a lot of people to sleep.
Yeah, I thought it legitimately. I thought it was going to finish up 28-6. I thought that Georgia was going to score once a quarter. It was proven once again that Peyton Thorne is not an SEC quarterback, and I thought that.
But he didn't throw any. He did not throw a touchdown for the other team though.
He didn't throw one. Well, actually, yeah, he did late, but
technically, those would still be a completion.
Yes, that is true. So,
silver lining.
It is just woof.
John, when are they going to bench him?
Hey, all right. So here's your thought for the day. At least in this block. So the head coach for the Boss's team. Look, the Boss didn't even go to Athens to watch this game. She's that mad right now.
That short of a drive.
Yeah, she's
just for the viewers at home. That's a short drive, just to give you the anger level.
90 minutes. It literally, it's like 90 minutes up a freeway, and so she was not interested in going to this game. She wanted to commiserate with other just as angry alums and alumna at the local bar where they'll go and they'll watch road games. So Hugh Freeze, quarterback whisperer extraordinaire. There's a quarterback.
What?
Hey, just ask him. There's a quarterback for a game that we have yet to talk about. And he is a quarterback for a ranked team. When it came down to the decision of this quarterback who was interested in going to Auburn and portal from previous institution to Auburn, and there was interest by the quarterback. There was not interest by Hugh Freeze in bringing him in. Hey, I've turned Malik Willis into a quality quarterback at Liberty. I can do the same thing with Peyton Thorne. You, sir, thank you for your interest. I'm not interested in having you here on this campus. That quarterback was Cam Ward at Miami. Cam Ward was interested in going to Auburn and learning, for whatever reason, at the feet of Hugh Freeze, quarterback genius extraordinaire whisperer, just ask him. But he was told, thanks, but no thanks. I've got Peyton Thorne. Fill in the rest.
I'll give you my opinion on Mr. Ward here too when we talk about his game, but we're not there yet.
But well, look, Cole, just at a base level, compare Cam Ward and Peyton Thorne. It is no comparison. And for Hugh Freeze, quarterback whisperer extraordinaire, just ask him. Oh no, I'm good. I've got Peyton Thorne. That should be like red flag on an orange and blue campus if ever there was one. So that's your story for the day.
And we've already given Auburn more time than they currently are worth.
You ain't yeah. Like I said, should have been 28-6. Get in, get out. Much like shingles and point spreads, Kirby doesn't care.
Speaking of cruise control, Marty's Ohio State Buckeyes with a big win, 35-7 over Iowa in a game that surprised absolutely nobody.
No one.
Iowa did manage a touchdown, which for them is always an accomplishment.
Well, I mean, they do have one less Ferentz. I have seen more offense this year, but maybe it's just the early schedule.
Yeah, it was they got a tight running back, although he made the mistake of running his mouth, saying that prior to the game, he announced that,
Oh,
if he would have gotten an offer, meaning he didn't get an offer,
Meaning
he
he
wouldn't
didn't.
have went to Ohio State. And he said that to a defense that, didn't really need a lot of motivation, but they really motivated him. He did get a touchdown in garbage time, though. So good for him.
Why do you say things like
Yeah,
Pat
were
him,
they laughing?
pat him on the head.
Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah. And then he was chirping too, which I found amusing. But that kind of answers some questions with Ohio State's offensive line. And, I was still questioning him and, going against Iowa's always got good line play, regardless of what year it is, 1960 to now. They've always got corn-fed guys up front.
Yeah, unfortunately, they have nothing else. Going down the list, Penn State moves to 5-0. They take care of business with UCLA, 27-11. Yawn. Penn State, I saw a statistic yesterday. I think they're one of the only teams to go 5-0 for like the last 6 or 7 years out of the blocks, and then they always manage to choke.
It's amazing what happens when you schedule cupcakes up front and then have to actually go into conference play.
Moving on down the list, Ole Miss takes care of business at Williams-Brice Stadium in South Carolina. They take care of the Gamecocks 27-3. Clemson with an easy win over Florida State 29-13. Florida State moves to 1-5.
We are refried ass over easy at 1-5, and we still have Miami and Notre Dame left on our schedule.
Iowa State takes care of business with Baylor, 43-21. Got to talk about Boise State. Boise State drops a 62 spot on Utah. They beat Utah 62-30. My favorite player and the guy who I think should be the Heisman Trophy candidate, if not winner, Ashton Jeanty, 13 carries, 186 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Oh, how many yards does he have on the season already?
I believe he's had
well over 1,000.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like he and Barry Sanders, I think.
And wait, his dad isn't the coach. He doesn't have an agency deal with the same agent as the coach. Like, the coach might not manipulate situations to try to get him the most that he can get. He's just doing this on his own.
Let me be more specific. Mr. Jeanty has 95 carries this season for 1,031 yards. And for those of you that don't want to do the math at home, that's 10.9 yards a carry.
All right. So
I went to public school, so thank you for that.
yes. So, all right. So let's process this. Who are the ones, if you had to extend your invites and envelopes to New York City, who's your 5?
Jeanty for sure.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter, because he deserves it for being the multi-level, multi-use player.
Yep. 2 for 2.
After that, Cam Ward probably will be invited. I don't necessarily agree with it, but that's just my opinion.
I don't. I'd have Milroe over Ward, but okay.
Fair enough.
After that, it's kind of a little bit of a crapshoot. It could be
Blake
just about
Blake Horvath. Give me Blake Horvath is my number 4.
Diego.
And Diego would be my 5.
Diego, number 5.
Go, Diego, go.
Okay, there's winning and there's putting up numbers. Then there's being surrounded by poop emoji and still putting up numbers.
Yeah. So
I respect that more.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Speaking of putting up numbers, it's time we talk about the late night game. West Coast, Pac-12 after dark.
ACC after dark, sir.
Yes, I was getting there. That you kind of ruined my joke.
All Coast Conference after dark.
You totally ruined my joke.
Good. Next on the CW.
Yeah, for those of you who stayed up extra late watching college football Saturday night, you missed an interesting game. Miami did get the win over Cal in Berkeley.
Blanked Miami.
39-38, but it took a 21-3 run in the fourth quarter to do it.
And a targeting call that should have been called that wasn't, and even went to review and was not called.
Yes.
That would have maintained a drive with under 2 minutes to go and I saw legitimately, and I posted this in conversations when it was 38-33. I said, if this goes 39-38, I'll be severely disappointed. A, because of my alumnus, and B, because of blank Miami on general premise. And so, of course, what happens? It goes to 39-38. So blank Miami.
Yes, I think my favorite sign for this game was DEI versus DUI.
Okay, there's that one, and then there was the one that I saw, the Adams-Onis Treaty was a mistake.
What?
That is a treaty that was signed in 1819 that allowed for Spain to give Florida to the United States. That was some deep thinking.
For a future second round draft pick or a player to be named later?
Exactly.
For a news story to be avoided later.
Yes. So literally you've got folks at Cal who are discussing 19th century political science in their signs. Oh, and then there was the other one that said, what the sign that said, I thought this was a protest.
Yeah, that was number 2.
Yeah.
That one I like.
Yeah. So
wait, and my third favorite one was, hey, you guys are blocking the library.
yes. Yes. Cal was on point. And the mere fact that they got both Reese Davis, and God bless Reese. He had a hell of a day. And God bless Reese Davis and Nick Saban for going on set wearing red ties and then removing them on air after being goaded by very, very cranky and barely awake college students at Cal. Very, very good. But Reese was hurting doing game day. And Dave Fleming apparently
It started at 6 a.m. local time there.
Yeah, I know. And so Dave Fleming traditionally is the one that does the late game with Brock Osweiler on the West Coast, but Dave had to attend to a family matter. So Reese, who was hurting with his pipes during game day, and you could tell, pinch hits for Dave Fleming. So his day started at like 7 a.m. East Coast time and ended at 2 a.m. East Coast time. So he had a 19-hour day when he was not at 100%. So Right Reverend Reese gets the okey doke and about a case of throat coat tea for whomever can send it to him. And I hope he's on radio silence until next Saturday.
Not to mention, he had to carry 2 clowns in that show.
but
Yes.
but I will say this: props to the kid who kicked the field goal in the Crocs for $100,000. And that probably made a dent in his meal plan at Cal. Nothing else. But $100,000 to the kid, and then another $500,000 for Hurricane Helene relief. So very, very cool move there by then. But that's about it.
Hopefully that donation's partially in his name so that he gets the write-off.
Yes, smart play. That would be very, very cool. But yeah, targeting call not called. Reffing once again down here. VAR doesn't review it or reverse it when it was blatant. They had the all 22 from behind that showed the contact. You don't review it. You keep the play going. Miami stays undefeated and ranked highly.
Okay. Targeting just needs to go. Leave it as unnecessary. Just leave it in the realm of unnecessary roughness because it is so inconsistently called.
Of course. Absolutely.
How many times do you see it called correctly? Or how many times is it just egregious where somebody's getting thrown out or it's not called?
Yes.
There's no
middle ground. It's extremes. It's either
you don't get it. They don't ever just get it right. They either get it completely wrong to the left or completely wrong to the right.
Correct. Absolutely true.
I want to talk for a minute about Miami quarterback Cam Ward. I mentioned that earlier. Hyped as the Heisman quarterback for this year. And I'm not impressed.
No, it's a system.
I think he's a good quarterback playing in a very, very good system, but I don't think he's a great quarterback playing in a very, very good system. If you go back and watch the highlights, he threw a very, very bad interception early in the game.
An interception ever good?
True, but this one led to a Cal touchdown. And he's done that in a couple of games. Yeah, he went 35 for 53 for 437, but he had to throw the ball on every play.
Say you had to.
Because they were down by a crap ton of points.
Yeah, a metric crap ton of points.
Yeah, I'm not convinced Miami is all that. I don't know that they're a top 10 team, but then again, we're in a year where outside of Ohio State, Texas, and maybe one or two other teams, there aren't any top 10 level teams from the years gone by. And I think he's just a pretty good quarterback, pretty good college quarterback on a very good team, a very good offensive, running a very good offensive system. And I don't get the hype.
No,
I really don't.
It's good marketing at his school, and you can kind of chalk it up to that.
Absolutely.
Like Pete, nobody's picking these Heisman people organically. It's somebody else is pushing it.
Yeah. And
Oh,
it's always a guy on a team that's running in the top 10 that particular season. That's why I can make my case all day long for Ashton Genty to win the Heisman because nobody's doing what he's doing. Nobody. It's absurd how good he is, and he doesn't get that love.
yeah, because it's at Boise.
Mm-hmm.
No, and like we said, what are our five that we almost agree on? Boise, Colorado, Navy, maybe Alabama, and then Vanderbilt. So you're staring at our ballot for New York is atypical. We go all over the place and we're looking for the best athletes. How many of our five will make it to New York? Don't know, but they damn well should. Not just because of a campaign from a Power Five conference.
By the way, I need to shout out the Indiana Hoosiers under Kurt Signetti.
Yep.
They are the first team to become bowl eligible in 2024.
Your new head coach at the University of Florida, Kurt Signetti.
Or at Florida State.
Oh, no.
That makes too much sense. They'll screw that up.
No, and once again, I will give Nick Saban a lot of credit for his on-airness, and I like IdGaff Nick Saban on Saturday mornings. I don't really watch him because of others on the program, and so I watch other programming, but I give him full credit for analyzing the situation in Tallahassee being transactional versus transformational, and he goes into this really and go watch it on social media because the segment is there, but he goes on to the difference at Florida State, where you had a transformational coach in years past, and now things are transactional with the student athlete, and you need to get back to that first one. And until that happens, Florida State is going to be stuck in this rut where they are currently right now. It was a great analysis by IdGaff Nick Saban, and go watch it on social media. We're 1-5 and refried ass over easy. That's all I can say.
But you're taking away from the storyline that is Indiana. They are 6-0, 3-0.
The new head coach of the University of Florida, Kurt Signetti. No, great on Indiana for getting to 6-0. Fantastic. I love what they're doing. It reminds me of the days with Terry Hepner and what Hepner was doing with a lot less to get to where Indiana was at the time. But no, good on them for getting where they are.
How do you think they're going to finish, though?
Well, let's take a peek at their schedule.
Yes, shall we?
Yeah, let's take a peek at their schedule and see where Indianapolis is. So right now you're at 23 and 6-0. But by the way, Northwestern, keep your stadium. Don't build the $800 million facility. Keep your stadium that you've currently got on the waterfront.
Get something that can seat some people, though. Jesus,
I think you'll finish 8-4 because, you've got Nebraska at home. You've got Washington coming to you. You're at Michigan State. You've got Michigan coming to you. You're at Ohio State, and then you've got Purdue coming to you. So I could easily see 8-4.
I'm thinking 9-3 maybe. I mean, they'll have a good chance against Washington and Nebraska, Michigan State,
Michigan. They got a chance against Michigan.
Yep, they should have a chance against Michigan, Ohio State. Not going to happen. But at the other games, they have a shot.
Yeah. So, and
to be honest, you could catch Ohio State, and looking forward to the week after.
Yeah. So the theory that I wanted to espouse is, I guess are we toward the end of the A block, Phil?
Yeah, we are. We got a couple more things to hit, but not much.
Okay. So the theory that I have that I wish to espouse here on the show, with galactic realignment being what it is, we now have schools that are having to travel farther distances than they have previously to play conference matchups. You have Miami traveling from one end of the planet to the other to play Cal. You have the team to the north traveling to Washington State to play UW. You have USC traveling from Los Angeles to try and figure out how they're going to get to Minneapolis to go play Minnesota on campus. You have all of these matchups where traditionally your non-conference opponent is coming to you and traveling a great distance. Now, because of galactic realignment, you are traveling great distances yourself to play in conference. And so you end up with all of these games where you have travel added in and the opportunity to stumble in these ranked games. And we're seeing teams having to travel in conference a lot further than they have in the past. Having to budget that into this whole process.
Interesting.
Wonder how long before we start to see neutral site games down the middle of the country.
Well, and I think that in the All Coast Conference specifically, I think that what you're seeing is, and Marty, I think that this is heading your way, I believe, as a part of this. You have the non-revenue sports in the All Coast coming to Dallas as kind of a hub because it's a midpoint to where the schools aren't spending as much, to where you won't have in, say, soccer, as an example, Miami traveling to Cal to play soccer. They play at SMU. And so I think that SMU is a hub for both broadcast and for non-revenue sports because of the travel that could be impacted otherwise.
Oh, for sure. They've got, you should see the facility they built. Insane. Top notch.
That All Coast Conference money helping out a co-educational institution of higher learning.
First, I thought SMU was stupid for taking no money, but they got a whole lot of stuff.
We're going to get stuff.
Yeah, they're making up for it in other ways. A couple more things to hit on, guys, really quick here before we wrap up the first block of the review. Couple other teams that are undefeated on the season, and John mentioned them a little bit briefly earlier. Both Navy and Army moved to 5-0. Army gets the 49-7 win over Tulsa in a thorough trouncing, and Navy takes care of Air Force 34-7.
So think about this. The get-in price right now for Army Navy, get-in price in the 400 level, $475 for a single ticket.
And we're still several weeks out from that game.
Both 5-0. So what you could have Army and Navy playing for the AC championship and then playing each other in Army Navy the following week for a bid into the CFP.
Did you see them both getting in and playing one more time? Oh.
Well, it would be
Football
awesome.
gods make it so.
Highly unlikely. Though I guess you never know. And one more game I got to talk about here before we finish off. And I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but UConn moves to 4-2 because they score on a fumble recovery touchdown as time expires in their game versus Temple.
Wasn't that off the tush push too?
It was. It was.
Dang it.
Temple was on the 2-foot line about to score a touchdown when the ball was around. UConn picks it up and takes it the other way for the victory.
Jasper Sanks would like to have a word with you. Oh my God.
Push turns to complete ass.
Yes.
Yes.
I love it.
That's fantastic.
Oh.
Marty wins the segment.
Yep, I think it's going to be hard to top that. So why don't we go ahead and go to break, guys? When we come back in
better to bottom it than top it. You already went there.
When we come back in the second half of the show, we're going to talk about games upcoming this next week in college football, week number 7. And we're going to talk about your favorite segment and ours, college football on a budget. All that more when we return for the second half of the review. You are listening to the review on the OSG Sports Podcasting Network.
Please like and subscribe.
Over here in the OSG Sports side of things, we talk football. FOOTBALL. College football version here with the College Football Review every single week. But for those of you that like not just football with 2 O's, but football with a U, FUTBOL, there's the Soccer Down Here Network. I'm John Nelson. I host the morning show on Soccer Down Here along with Jarrett Smith, Nick Alifi, Jason Longshore. And if you're looking for the best information when it comes to the world of soccer, based in the southeastern United States, but we don't leave anything off the table. 9:05 Eastern time until 11 whenever. Sometimes we go for a while. SDH Network morning show, Soccer's morning show, Monday through Friday, plus all the live events we do. It is your place and your source for soccer that is based in the Southeast but covers everything on the world. SoccerDownHere.net, the Soccer Down Here app available iOS and Android through our friends at Spreaker. That's like speaker with an R in the middle. Spreaker, do a search for OSG Sports, do a search for Soccer Down Here. All the soccer content all in one place. It is the SDH Network and Soccer Down Here.
Thanks for sticking around, everybody. You have made it to the second half of the show.
But we haven't made it.
In the first half, we talked about the week that was, and now we're talking about the week upcoming. And guys, we've got a full week of games because this week we've got not only do we have Thursday night college,
we have Jesus.
we have Tuesday night college football.
It's time for Conference USA and the MACtion to start taking over.
Yes, a week of college football featuring games on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and on Saturday.
Happy days. Oh, sorry.
A week.
The Tuesday and Wednesday games are games that you would expect to be that part of the week. Florida International at Liberty on Tuesday, New Mexico State at Jacksonville State on Wednesday. We moved down the list, though, guys.
But you're missing football on a budget.
Oh, no. We'll come back to that.
Yet. That's why.
Okay, fine.
Patience, John.
Tease, John. Tease.
Damn, people.
We go down the list of games on Saturday, and some of the more significant matchups includes the return of the Red River rivalry, Texas and Oklahoma playing in Dallas, Marty.
I won't be leaving my house.
You shouldn't. Get in price at $373 for the Cotton Bowl? No chance.
It's not bad considering most years. The traffic just goes to a standstill. It's insane.
So are you going? You going to go to the fair at least?
Yes, twice probably.
Fried everything.
I won't go there for the. Do not get the fried beer if you go there.
No.
I think they fry Natty Light. It's awful.
Ugh.
Ew.
It's bad.
Oh, I think I just got indigestion thinking about that.
Try everything else. Get a Fletcher's corny dog. I'm thinking about sneaking in some Cleveland Stadium mustard for my corny dog.
All Bertman's, baby.
Yeah, that'll work.
Ooh.
A game that would have been a good matchup going before the week. Yeah, but USC ended up losing to Minnesota. Penn State travels to the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum to take on USC in the 3:30 CBS matchup.
It's too early for the Rose Bowl.
I know. But this plays to the theory. I don't know what the number is when, if the number is currently posted as we're talking, but this plays into the theory that I brought to the table in the first segment. USC in the middle of a schedule gets a home game. Penn State has to travel from either Harrisburg or Pittsburgh, find their way to Los Angeles for a 3:30 Eastern game, which is 12:30 out west, which means that your day's all screwy and you got to think like East Coast time on a Saturday when your kickoff is 12:30 local time. So, I mean, early returns for me, I'm thinking USC.
Yeah. But if you're a Penn State fan, it's actually easier to go to a game at USC because, one, you can drive the stadium easy. Two, there's actual hotels nearby.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's an airport. There are multiple airports, and get-in price is $52.
Yeah, I'm looking at that price, and I'm just like, I would much rather go see a game at the Rose Bowl.
Take a field trip out of it, absolutely.
And have a decent hotel to stay at. That's not with 3 hours, not staying in Harrisonburg or Pittsburgh.
No.
Halfway across the state.
No. Or the one hotel in Happy Valley.
Now, as we talk more Big Ten, probably the biggest game on the schedule, the game that will have the biggest impact on who is where over the course of this.
Purdue and Illinois.
Yeah, no. Ohio State takes the trip out to Eugene to take on the Oregon Ducks.
Mm-hmm. This will tell you what's happening in the Big Ten.
Yep.
And it's probably a preview of the Big Ten championship game.
I was going to say, this is likely the battle for Big Ten supremacy. Both teams undefeated going into the game. Ohio State really hasn't been challenged that much. Oregon has kind of played down a little bit to their competition. This one's going to cost you $260 right now.
Oh,
This
that's going to
far
go
out.
up too. That's definitely going up. It's the Chip Kelly Bowl.
Yeah.
It's your primetime game on NBC Sports. That's one I might actually tune in for.
The OSU is a 3.5 and 53.5. I like the total more than I do the spread right now. I think that they clear that 53.5 pretty easily.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be a shootout too, Marty. It's just a matter of who's going to be more offensive. Ha 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 ha.
I like people from Ohio being more offensive. I just have a strong belief in that part of our character.
But that's a separate conversation.
But that defense, though,
Rim shot. Yeah.
the safety play, Caleb Down.
Caleb Downs, North Gwinnett High School. Thank you very much.
That kid he has bad intentions every time he tackles somebody.
Correct.
And Oregon has 8th-year senior quarterback Dylan Gabriel, who has played for every team in the top 10.
No, that's TJ Finley. Well, TJ Finley's played for every team, just not in the top 10.
Another matchup.
He's the inverse.
Another matchup featuring ranked teams kicking off at the same time. Ole Miss travels down to Baton Rouge to take
Red
on
Stick.
Yeah.
Tigers.
Red Stick night game. I got to go with LSU.
Yeah.
That's going to be loud.
Because they're going to have the whole day to.
Phil, I've worked games there. They're starting on Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, I have too.
There's RVs parked on Wednesday and Thursday.
Yes.
That's going to be a
fun
game.
one. That's your ABC SEC primetime game of the week there.
Oh, good Lord. Double down.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Yes. Interesting matchup late night on ESPN. Kansas State travels to Boulder, Colorado to take on the Deion Sanders-led Colorado Buffaloes.
Kansas State's a 5.5 get-in price at 182.
God, what's more overvalued, that game or Deion?
Sanders family.
Hard to say.
Without question.
I like Kansas State in that game, but I think it's going to be a close one.
Yeah, I don't think the 5.5 is going to make it. I think Colorado covers, but if Kansas State makes a mistake, it could end up being like the BYU game, where if one thing happens, the next thing happens, the next thing happens, and so on and so on. It could get nasty.
That's just an odd kickoff time.
Very.
It's a very odd kickoff time. Didn't mention it only because it includes the Florida Gators, but a 7:00 kickoff on ESPN. The Florida Gators travel to Knoxville to take on the Tennessee Volunteers.
Oh, an angry Tennessee with Florida coming to town. Get in price at 212. This one could get ugly early. That could be nasty.
The Gators did beat UCF this past week to move to 3-2.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Florida champions.
That might be Miami.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's
Miami. The University of Coral Gables and the University of South Georgia Gainesville campus fighting it out to be Panhandle champs or Adams Onis Treaty champs. That'll be the way.
Not seeing a whole lot of other games on the board here that look that interesting or like they'll be that particularly.
Vandy in Kentucky in Lexington. How does Vandy respond? And how does Kentucky manage that one? Does Vandy continue to have a hot hand, or are they gassed coming into this game after having beaten Alabama? So Vandy at Kentucky for me, $65 get in at Kroger Field in Lexington. And I don't know if you get a discount if you use your Kroger card.
A 7:45 game on the Vanderbilt home network, the SEC network.
That's ESPN, right?
Huh?
Yeah, it's one of the offshooting networks. Yes.
No, I'm just saying ESPN is the SEC network.
Yes, it is. Yes. Yeah. But specifically, it will be over at the SEC network. Yes.
That could be an interesting matchup there. That might be worth kind of keeping an eye on.
Oh yeah, keep an eye on that one, baby.
Really don't have that much to cover here, so maybe we move on to everybody's favorite segment. It's time for
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's where we find games that you can get in for roughly the price of a Coca-Cola or maybe a little bit more. but not too much more, and definitely under $20. And guys, we've got a few games that cover that territory. We'll start off with the Tuesday game that I mentioned briefly at the beginning of this segment. Florida International at Liberty. Right now, you're getting price at Williams Stadium in beautiful scenic Lynchburg, Virginia, $9.
Ain't getting my money never.
Yeah, I don't want to spend money there either.
Not happening. Not spending money on that joint. Not happening.
USA, but no.
Yes.
No, I don't think so either. On Thursday, another easy game to get into. UTEP makes the trip up to Kentucky, Bowling Green, Kentucky, to be specific, to take on the Western Kentucky
Chiggers.
Hilltops.
Especially if they're rocking those helmets they broke out this week.
Ding, ding, ding at LTC.
The get-in price for that one, gentlemen, is $7.
All right. Those fans at Kentucky, awesome people.
Mhm.
Great people. I've during basketball season met up with a bunch of them. I've worked alongside their press people. Just a great group of fans. You got to love their mascot.
And if they would only start selling the position group,
Oh, they got the hoodie, and I don't know if you saw it. They have a NIL website now that's selling the helmet that was just the eyeballs of the mascot. They've got a crew neck where it's just the eyeballs on the back, and a hoodie and a
man,
t-shirt.
fantastic. But now they got to get the position group, the individual position groups with the mascot that they broke out last year for the helmets. Then I'll be spending a fortune, and it will be crazy. But yes, UTEP hasn't won a game all year, but they're going to Western Kentucky. I'll go to LT Smith, and I will go ding, 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 especially on a Thursday night.
And
Leaves a lot more games available to you.
Mm-hmm.
moving on to Friday, your leader in the clubhouse for the cheapest game of the week. Northwestern at Maryland. You're getting price roughly 5 days before kickoff. $4.
Only because it's $4. I'm in.
It's at Maryland.
I can visit my brother.
Yeah, see, you could do that. I can't.
As it
Not to
gets
spend on a hotel
kickoff,
room.
this may be the one game as it gets closer to kickoff that they might be paying you to come to the game.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be $2 by that time
Yeah.
that rolls around.
I mean, for me, if it was at Northwestern and $4, I would dive into that in a hurry. But since it's in College Park, the answer is no.
Yeah, it means having to go through DC to get there or flying into Baltimore, so that does make it a little bit
Baltimore.
difficult.
Correct.
Moving down the list of games, your noon kickoffs on Saturday, October 12th. Ball State at Kent State, Little Mac action.
Because you can go watch it at Dick's.
Oh,
Yes, you can. You can watch it at
oh
Dick's
my
Stadium
God. Ball at
in
Dick's.
Ohio. To get in price right now.
It's a conversion of Ball and Dick's.
Or 12. All stayed at Dick's.
Oh, man, just because there's got to be some funny t-shirts happening with this.
Oh, please let that happen and someone make a fortune. Some enterprising student at Kent, please make this happen. We know, by the way, so when the show is released, we need to make sure that the student body at Kent, the student section at Kent, knows about Ball and Dick's.
Yeah, and for those of you keeping track of such things at home, it's not Dick's Sporting Goods.
No, DIX, yeah. So Ball State playing at Dick's. We got to tell the folks at Kent to make this happen.
Yeah. It ain't expensive.
But Marty, you could keep talking about this until you're blue in the face. You've got to get people in the door.
Yes, this is true.
Moving
Unfortunately,
down-
we might be the only ones at that game.
Mm-hmm.
2
That's
o'clock
out there.
kickoff.
But we'll go and we'll see how it's hanging. So that's
Bad jokes aside, moving down the list.
they were bad jokes.
But we love bad jokes.
Miami of Ohio at Eastern Michigan. You're getting price in beautiful Ypsilanti, $11.
We've had a couple of other opportunities to go to Reinerson this year. If you want to see the green and gray turf, go earlier in the year, because especially if it gets later in the year, that place is almost unbearably cold. So if you're going to go early.
Yeah, you probably got some nice leaves going. I'm in for that.
Okay.
Just to see a season, because that doesn't happen where I live.
True. And I've already said I was going to Reinerson earlier in the year just to see the turf. So I've already pre-dinged Eastern Michigan this season.
Yeah, another $11 game featuring two teams from the All Coast Conference. Cal makes the trip cross country to Pittsburgh. 3:30 kickoff on ESPN. Right now, you're getting price at Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh, $11.
Yeah, I've got to. I think
Mhm.
that, no, I'm not going, but I think that this is one of those games where Pitt probably pounces on Cal, considering what happened on Saturday night. I think that this is a rough turnaround for Cal with a heartbreaking loss, having to pile onto a plane, travel to Pittsburgh. I think that Pitt gets this one done outside of not knowing what the number is. But
Would you believe that Pitt is undefeated going into this game at 5-0?
yeah, I heard about the sneakiness at the Confluence so far this season. So I think that Pitt goes to 6-0 and become bowl eligible with a win. But I'm still not going to Acrisure.
If you want to make the trip down to a sunny Orlando, although probably not so sunny heading weekend, hurricane heading their way.
It's true.
Cincinnati
Wednesday.
travels down to FBC Mortgage Stadium to take on UCF. You're getting priced there $12.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. So, as a public service, especially with the games earlier in the week, Hurricane is supposed to make landfall. They're saying in and around Tampa on Wednesday. So, the game at South Florida on Friday, keep an eye out for that one. Memphis and South Florida is at the pirate ship. Keep an eye out for all of the Central Florida home games and all your favorite teams because of hurricane and hurricane coverage. Just that's a public service announcement.
Yeah, and the Hurricane right now tracking pretty much to move straight up I-4 from Tampa to Daytona Beach.
Yeah, weather side, I probably wouldn't go to that game.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Moving down the list, Akron at Western Michigan. You're getting price at Where's Waldo Stadium in Kalamazoo, $12.
I'm going just so I can finally see if I can get the answer of who that guy with the recording sunglasses at night was.
And well,
they still haven't answered it.
And I've still got to figure out, and I get to have the question answered. Where's Waldo? Apparently, it's in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Yes.
Maybe that guy was Waldo.
That's what I'm saying.
That is the T-shirt to get if you can go there.
I'd go there just to wear the T-shirt.
Exactly.
More Florida football. North Texas makes the trip to Boca Raton to take on Florida Atlantic. You're getting price at FAU Stadium, $9.
Because of the weather, I'm going to say no this time around, but that would not preclude me from going to FAU at a later date.
Yeah, I just remember from when I worked at UNT and students went down there working a game, the FAU fans were terrible, so they're not getting a dime.
Does that surprise you?
No. I mean, Florida is known for white trash, and apparently they all graduated from there. Those that have degrees.
Somebody who grew up in Central Florida, I'll stay out of this conversation.
Oh, but you were a 1AA D2 person in that conversation, were you not?
Yes. And guys, I think with that,
well, hang on. Let's check and see other divisions. Because as a public service,
football from the heartland.
Yeah, I mean, we got Ivy League football for 14. Dartmouth and Yale at the Yale Bowl in New Haven, Connecticut for $12. Maine and Delaware at Delaware Stadium in Newark for 10. Bucknell and Bucknell and Penn at Franklin Field, at historic Franklin Field in Philadelphia for 12. Saluki Stadium, Carbondale, Illinois gets back into the discussion. And it's North Dakota State coming to Southern Illinois. Might be your only chance to see North Dakota State, because if you're trying to get them to go see a home game, it's not going to happen. $9 to go to
$9?
$9 to go see North Dakota State and Southern Illinois in Carbondale.
You're going to see a bunch of late round draft picks and undrafted free agents that are going to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
For $9, that's a steal.
Yes,
that is definitely a steal.
Princeton at Mercer for $11 at 5-star, 3:30 kick on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, but it means you have to go down. You have to actually go there.
True. And then also it is Portland State at Idaho State at the ICCU Dome in Pocatello, 6 o'clock kick on the Plus. $10.
Mm,
So if you wish to expand your horizon,
Why not?
well, I mean, for me, the visit to Carbondale to go see North Dakota State for $9,
Yeah, I mean,
that one to me goes to the head of the line.
your other Dakota powerhouse, South Dakota State's taking on my Penguins, but that one's going for 103.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. So go to Carbondale, Illinois to go see North Dakota State. And by the way, North Dakota State and North Dakota actually played this past weekend too for the Battle of North Dakota. So,
Is there a corn themed trophy in there somewhere?
well, I'm trying to figure out when. I can't remember if we've had Dakota Marker yet or not, but I don't know what it is inside the state of North Dakota. There's got to be a rivalry attached to that one in there somewhere.
Oh, certainly a rivalry attached to that one.
But the name, I couldn't think of the name of the in-state game. But yeah, $9. This is your bolo. $9, Carbondale, Illinois, North Dakota State at Southern Illinois. Go.
Yeah, guys, I think that pretty much wraps up what we got to talk about. Just a quick update on North Carolina State quarterback Grayson McCall, who was taken off of the field after getting hit in the head during their loss, North Carolina State's loss to Wake Forest.
Don't watch that video. That was horrible.
Yeah, it was bad.
He thankfully has been released from the hospital. No word as to whether he's going to play again anytime soon.
Get healthy first.
Yes. Make sure you're healthy. Football can wait.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely true.
And outside of that, the only other thing that might be sitting out there is what scuba divers or salvage company has got to go to the depths of the Cumberland River to fish out the football goalposts from Vanderbilt's Memorial Stadium.
How does Western Michigan not have a Waldo t-shirt?
What?
They don't.
Why?
I don't know. This is a question for Western Michigan and the Rally House. Why do you not have? Why do you not
Western
have
Michigan doesn't answer questions.
Why do you not have a Waldo?
Ask the NCAA.
Yes.
All right.
Oh,
So what do you say we wrap things up here?
let's wrap things up. I'm disappointed in Western Michigan having no Waldos.
Kind of a sad note there.
Boo!
What do we
For
have?
OSG Nelson, I am OSG Phil. He is Brother Marty. We are the Online Sports Guys team. Make sure you tune in the middle of the week for the College Football X, where Brother Wilkie and John will talk about things that happen in the world of college football. They will have interviews, guests, and a whole lot more. Make sure you tune in. It's the College Football X right here on the OSG Sports College Football Network. Until then, everybody have a great week, and we will see you again after week number 7. Bye-bye.
Please like and subscribe.